Cross-country ski with your in short range motion is very different, and all those rules that I just talked about change. Now when we do a short range cross-country ski, which is great for like doing sprinting, developing speed, power, what you want to do is get people to bring their heels down to the bottom of the pool.
So I'm pushing my heels down. Now it looks like I'm asking people to lift their toes up in front, but it's not. I'm just driving my heels down. Remember, you're buoyant.
And when I'm doing that, it's almost as if when my foot goes forward, I'm actually on my heel, but my toe comes up off the floor, and then it's toe at the back. So it's heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. And that's what it feels like I'm doing in the water. Now, when we do that, because it's a short range movement pattern, we get a lot more activation of the hamstrings. So the back of the leg starts to really work as we do this exercise.
So all I'm focusing on is making sure I put my heel down in front. So heel down in front. The toe is going to happen automatically at the back. And
because there's so many exercises that we do in the water that has more of an emphasis on the quadriceps, it's great to get this emphasis in the hamstrings and the glutes, because you've got to really drive that motion. So it's a short range movement pattern, heels down on the bottom of the pool. If I do it with my toes, it feels completely different.
And it takes it all out of the hamstrings. You don't feel anything in your hamstrings anymore.
And my hamstrings don't get the same sort of stimulus as what they did when I had my heels down.
But it means that you have to teach heels down. Now, how do you do that on land, right? So how do I do this on land? Because it can be a little bit tricky on land, right? So again, if I've got my aqua frame, it's a lot easier because I can ask people to make sure they put their heels down in front. I'll just say, make sure your heel comes down in front. I don't teach them to do this. Heel, toe, heel, toe. I don't do that. Though that's what it looks like underneath the water. But if you're wanting to communicate so they go, okay, I understand what you're saying, you ask them to go heel, toe, there's no way they're going to be able to do it. Just ask them to make sure that their front heel hits the bottom of the pool. And what will happen is their toe will actually come up slightly because they're buoyant, but their heel will go down. And what you want to do is a short range motion. So if you're demonstrating it on pool deck, okay, you want to make sure that that front heel comes down. And I always say heels down, flatten your front foot down to the bottom of the pool. And what I want you to do is drive your legs through the water. If you want to make sure that you feel it in the right place, feel it in your hamstrings and your glutes. So they're the cue words I'm using. Like, it needs to be here. If you feel like you're bouncy, 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 and I'll also explain another little way to explain how to get them to bring their heels down. They're bouncy, bouncy, they're not going to feel it in their hamstrings at all. And just a little reminder about what I mentioned before. There's a lot of exercises that are quad-centric in the pool. Most exercises, we really have to make sure we emphasize the hamstrings. Now, if you're thinking, oh, but I kick my legs to the back, blah, 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 let me tell you, that's not necessarily a hamstring exercise. You're like, but I'm doing hip extension. That is just as much of it as quads as you might think as hamstrings. It's not hamstrings because your knee comes up, you're pushing back. Now I've got knee extension. That's a quad exercise right there. Yes, I know I've lifted my leg up, but remember, you're in water. So this is where everything changes. We're not on land. If I did this on land and I had a gym stick band on, perhaps whatever, yeah, I'm going to feel that in my quads and my hamstrings. Sorry, my glutes and my hamstrings. But when you're in the water, it's the knee extension. So you're feeling it in your quads. It's the whole thing about getting in the pool and actually really nailing down what muscle groups you're feeling. So hammies, hamstrings, you've got to really focus on technique to make sure hamstrings get a good workout. Now remember, biomechanically we live on land, so we need good glute strength to create good locomotion, especially with good stride length for walking. Most of our clients are older adults. They need to make sure that they can feel this in the back of the legs. And I say to them, if you can't feel it in the back of your legs, I want you to push a bit harder till you do. till you feel it in the back of your legs, whatever it is that you need to do. So sometimes their stride's too small. Sometimes it's like this. This is when you go too fast. That's the perception of too fast. So when people say to me, oh, it's too fast in the pool, and they don't feel anything, it's because the movement pattern's too small. So get the movement pattern longer. And I say, if you can hit the tempo, I don't want you to go faster. I want you to see if you can hit the tempo and make your stride longer. It's not going to be like the big rebound one, but I want you to see if you can really push the legs through the water.